What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Chiefs Zone podcast. I am Farzin Vasugian. Good morning. Thank you all getting up early with me on a Saturday morning. Hope you guys enjoyed the game last night. If you were at the game, hope you all had fun. It was actually a good turnout. Not a bad turnout at all for a preseason finale. I was expecting there to be far less people, but I got to go to the game. Good time there. Had a lot of fun, except for the final 2 minutes. That was a bummer. That was definitely a bummer. That sucks. But the good news is the preseason is over. Yeah, the preseason is finally over. We're done with that. We're moving on. And now the Chiefs, we wait. It's going to be 14 days in between last night's game and week 1 in Brazil. As of this moment, we are 13 days away from that week 1 game between the Chiefs and the Chargers in Brazil. If you guys want to attend any football games this season, Chiefs, Mizzou, KU, K-State. Hey, today, day 1 of college football. College football is back. I'm excited. I'm actually going to the KU Fresno State game. So if you guys want to attend any of the college football action today or for the rest of the season, go to SeatGeek, get your tickets from there. That is where I got my tickets for last night's game and also for today's game between KU and Fresno State. And if you guys want to catch any of the football action this season, that's where you should go. New SeatGeek customers can use my promo code FARZIN and save $20 off their first order from SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com, pick your tickets at checkout. New customers can enter my promo code FARZIN and you will save $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. All right. Appreciate you all once again joining me on this early Saturday morning. I'm trying to think, when was the last time we did a podcast this early? I want to say the morning DeAndre Hopkins got traded to the Chiefs. I think that is the earliest we've ever done a podcast. Maybe for one of the pregame podcasts when the Chiefs played in Germany a couple of years ago. Yeah, I can't really recall many of these early podcasts, but I appreciate those tuning in live. I see a couple of you guys tuning in, asking questions. If you guys have any questions, since we did not do a Red Friday Q&A live chat yesterday for obvious reasons, since there was a game, go ahead and ask them below. I don't anticipate this to be a very long podcast, so get your questions in, and I will get to you guys as we go on throughout the morning. So bad ending. Chiefs led for really all of this game. They never trailed in this game until the final, 3 seconds? And Chicago rallied down the field, and there are some guys on that drive that probably either made Chicago's team or they certainly impressed a scout or a coaching staff, GM somewhere. What I do know is I was really comfortable with what I saw from the Chiefs starting unit in this game. If you are one of those Chiefs fans, which is all of you, that were concerned about the pass protection coming into this season, and you were hoping that Kingsley would pan out, Josh Simmons would look really well, Creed and Trey would continue to do their thing, Juwan would step up. If you're going to use last night's preseason game as any kind of indicator, which you can't, but for now, this is all we have to go off of. You feel pretty good about that. Now, again, it is the preseason. I've said this many times. It's okay to be excited, especially in the moment. This is our football withdrawal that's being brought back to us. So in the moment, there's always going to be excitement for this. And Chicago had their starters on the field. I think Caleb Williams played a majority of the first half, if I recall correctly. But I went back and rewatched every offensive snap with the starting unit. And I'll have a chance to rewatch the game later today. But I love the pass protection. There were a couple of times where I'm waiting for Mahomes to throw it. I'm like, come on, you got to find someone. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. He actually has the protection. This is what we missed in the Super Bowl. This is what we missed in some games last year. Excluding the Super Bowl, the one other game that quickly comes to mind in terms of Patrick Mahomes not getting any help from his offensive line, I think of that Panthers game coming off the Buffalo loss, the Panthers game that came right down the wire. And I think it was Spencer Schrader who kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired, which is crazy because the Chiefs had 3 different kickers who kicked walk-off field goals. But that game was pretty bad. And if I remember the numbers correctly, I think it was Wanye Morris and Jawan Taylor each allowing 5 pressures, maybe 6. It felt like they allowed 100. I mean, that's how bad of a game it was. Mahomes had nothing to work with. Now, the Chiefs still were able to do some things on offense. I think the Chiefs won that game 30-27, if memory serves me correctly. But I'm looking at this offensive line last night, and I'm thinking, man, the Chiefs could have used this offensive line against the Eagles. The Chiefs could have used this pass protection against Carolina. Now, again, I've said this a couple times already. It is the preseason. We can't put too much stock in these kinds of things here. But if the Chiefs can carry that over to the regular season, which is the hope for every coaching staff, whatever good you see in training camp and in the preseason, the hope is you find a way to carry that over to the games that actually count. I mean, last night's game didn't count, but they certainly matter. And there were some good things. And I guarantee you, Andy Heck, the offensive line coach, Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, Andy Reid, the offensive line coach, when they meet with the team today, they're going to review that tape with the starting offensive line and say, this is what we want. This is what you guys need to look like. Couple things to still work out. I'm still a little nervous about Kingsley, but give credit where credit's due. I thought Kingsley looked good yesterday. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Kingsley had a big hand in that run block right there on Pacheco's touchdown. And I said this last year, Kingsley looked really good as a run blocker last year. When you look back at Orlando Brown, who the Chiefs had at left tackle, and they let him walk, he ended up with Cincinnati. The thing about Orlando Brown, he was not a good pass blocker at all. But when it came to run blocking, that is where he thrived. And that's where he thrived in Baltimore. But in this style of offense, don't get me wrong, run blocking is very important, but this is always going to be a pass-first team. Even when the Chiefs are in the goal line, they'll pass a lot. I felt like they ran the ball a lot more last year, and I think a big part of it was due to injuries and whatnot. And Kareem Hunt, he had 4 straight games with 20+ carries. I don't anticipate that happening again, unless the injury bug goes around, which hopefully not. But this team's going to pass the ball a lot. Even before Patrick Mahomes, when this team was inside the 5, you'd see them throw the ball a lot. This is a pass-heavy team. Everyone knows that. I'm not sharing anything that's groundbreaking about this team, but that pass protection has far more value than your run blocking abilities. But I liked what I saw from the Chiefs offensive line last night. The starting unit, that is. And if they can carry that over to week 1 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and then at home against Philly, and so on for the remainder of the year, and they've obviously got a very difficult 4 games to start the season, so they'll definitely be tested. If that pass protection is there for Patrick Mahomes is going to have a really good season. I mean, there will be times where even the best offenses, you see the quarterback, needing extra time. But again, I go back to one of the plays where Mahomes, he was in the pocket for a while. And I'm like, why is no one getting open? I'm like, wait a minute. He has pass protection. This is what we want. This is what we want. This is what we've been hoping for. And we haven't had a lot of that over the past 3 to 4 years in Kansas City. So hopefully the Chiefs can use last night's strength, which I thought the offensive line certainly was a strength in last night's game. And that translates into the regular season, because without that, you don't really have much of an offense. Everyone keeps talking about how the offense was stagnant, not as threatening, not dynamic the last 2 years. Obviously, for 2 different reasons. 23, you had the drops. That certainly did not help. And then last year, the injuries, but they still found a way. With two bad offensive tackles, with a lot of wide receivers, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice missing a lot of games last year, Pacheco missing a lot of games last year, this team still found a way to win 15 games. Yeah, a lot of them came down to the wire. A lot of them were situations where the Chiefs did not do themselves any favors offensively. And I can't remember what game it was. Was it the Carolina game? Or one of the, I think it was the Carolina game. If you guys watch the Kingdom series, spoiler alert, Mahomes asks the camera guys, put the cameras down, turn them off, whatever. And he had some things to say to the offense, saying, we got to play better than that. I think you're going to have less of those conversations this year for the Chiefs offense. I think the Chiefs offense, more times than not, will play well. That is what we want. That is the big hope for this season, because the defense will be there. I know the defense maybe not the most encouraging, but keep in mind the Chiefs took out a lot of their starters early in those first two games. Now, I don't think Caleb Williams is really the greatest measuring stick here in terms of comparing that to how, like, talking about how well your defense did. But you saw the Chiefs pull out some of their starters in last night's game, in week 1 against Kyler Murray. Last week against Seattle, the starters either didn't play or barely played. And I still felt like, in general, the Chiefs' defense, all things considered, looked good. I mean, you saw the second string defense get a pick against Kyler Murray, and at one point holding them to a field goal. Last night, you saw after 2 or 3 series, you saw the Chiefs' defense, and as well as the second string offense, go out there and play against some of Chicago's starters. So one thing I will judge in preseason games, I feel like if a kicker is bad in the preseason, you can judge on that. That's not going to change much in the regular season. But if your starting team looks bad against backups, that's another thing that I'd be concerned about. And for Kansas City, it was the other way around, where their backups kind of held their own against Arizona starters, Chicago starters. They didn't really look the best against Seattle starters. And I know Leo Chenal kind of opened up about that this past week in his press conference, talking about, how the team wants to look better. But overall, I think this offense is going to look nice. And when you look at the Chiefs and the pass protection there, you hope that continues in the regular season. And if it does, Mahomes has maybe the fastest group he's ever had. I would not say the best group of wide receivers. I still think that title belongs to the 2018 crew, where you had Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman. Hardman was a part of the 2019 team, but 2018, 2019, I would say that were the two great years the Chiefs had on offense. 2020 as well. Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle. That unit still has, 2018, 2019, and 2020, the 3 best years the Chiefs have had, specifically with the wide receivers. I don't know what this year is going to look like, because Rice, we know, is going to get suspended. We just don't know exactly how many games and exactly when, which is kind of weird, the way this is kind of dragging out. But we're starting to get some familiarity, some understanding as to why this is dragging out for too long. Hollywood Brown, I know there's a health concern with him, but man, if he's available, I know it's a big if. And I said this last night when I did a quick live stream from the car. If Hollywood Brown is healthy, and I know the injury history with him, but that is why you take a risk on Hollywood Brown. If you take a risk on Hollywood Brown, that guy, he can do some things for your offense. We know what Xavier Worthy can do. We know what Rashee Rice can do. Tyquan Thornton, we saw Tyquan Thornton one-on-one coverage right there, just blew past by the cornerback, and Patrick Mahomes did not waste any time getting the ball to Thornton on a 58-yard play. Jalen Royals, Juju Smith-Schuster, Nico Remigio. I think those are going to be your 7 wide receivers. If this offensive line can provide that protection for 4 to 5 seconds, Mahomes is going to have a damn good season. I think it's going to be very similar to the 2022 season with the possibility of it being 2018. Going into last year with all the hype with Worthy, Rice, and Hollywood, my prediction, I think a lot of people felt this way as well. I thought the Chiefs were going to look very similar to the 2018 team. And unfortunately, injuries had other plans for Kansas City in that game. But for now, the wide receivers are available. The great news about last night, no injuries. That is massive. I think the worst thing that might have happened would have been Pacheco, where he crashed into the wall, also bumped into that trash can. He quickly got back up, which I was good to see. I'm hoping all is okay. Nothing, no concussion concerns there. I think the trash can might have got the worst of that than Pacheco did. But Pacheco still took a pretty bad hit to the wall with his head there. So hopefully all is good there. Listen, we know Pacheco's tough. We know this, guys. It's 5 a.m. for you, Robert. Good for you. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to all of you guys on the West Coast and some of you guys overseas who watch in the middle of the night or whatever it is for you guys. But in general, I feel pretty good about what I saw from the Chiefs starting unit, specifically on offense and defense. But I can't judge too much against Caleb Williams. But with Chicago's defense and the way the Chiefs offense played, I liked what I saw. I really did. I do want to talk about the Rashee Rice touchdown play where Patrick Mahomes threw that fade route to Rice. We saw that exact same thing in week 1 when Jason Brownlee had that touchdown grab. Remember that? That was when the Chiefs starting offense, well, specifically Patrick Mahomes, only played one drive. And that is all we saw. It was one completion, 1 attempt for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. That was Mahomes' stat line for that game. But boy, I mean, the fade routes, it sounds like a very simple play there. It's nothing too difficult, but it does take a lot of perfection. And sure, when you're watching the game on TV, you think to yourself, oh man, why couldn't the defensive back have gotten involved there? But that is kind of the purpose of the fade route. Defensive players are not supposed to expect it. I'm actually trying to look up the screenshot because I took it on my phone, but I can't recall. I took a bunch of videos and pictures last night, and of course, it's lost in the middle of all of this. Trying to see if I can find that. Okay, I don't have it. Oh, there it is. Now I found it. So bear with me one moment. I finally found this screenshot. I do want to show you guys something on this to prove to you guys how important this fade route is. Again, it sounds like a very simple concept, but in theory, this is one of those things that it does take the right execution. The quarterback has to be on point. And of course, I can't find it on my computer here. Sorry. It's one of those things that everything has to go right. It happens very quickly too. That's the other thing. Because of how quick that play operates, you have to make sure everything goes right in those 2 to 3 seconds. It's a long 2 to 3 seconds, feels quicker than that, but that's what you want your team to do. So I was pretty encouraged to see that. So my point is, I think you might see that a lot this season with the Chiefs whenever they're close to the end zone. So that is something to look out for. The Chiefs did it with Jason Brownlee in week 1, and they did it with Rashee Rice last night. So we might start to see more of that as we go on this season. I got it on my computer, so bear with me. I'll eventually get it up there. I mentioned Jason Brownlee real quickly on him. Jason Brownlee looked good in last night's game. Another wide receiver that looked good, both on offense and on special teams, was Jimmy Holiday. Jimmy Holiday had that big hit on special teams, and then later on in the game, it was that big play from, I think, Gardner Minshew to get the Chiefs close to the end zone. Unfortunately, the Chiefs could not capitalize on that, but we're able to get a score on that play nonetheless. And I think the problem is there's not enough room for those two guys at the moment, unless the Jalen Royals injury is more significant than we think. But I'm just looking at that Chiefs wide receiver group later on as the game went on. I think Jimmy Holiday and Jason Brownlee, I think those guys earned themselves a spot on the practice squad. I think those are your two wide receivers that will be on the practice squad. One of them will get called up whenever Rice has to serve a suspension. And I think the Chiefs will have Elijah Badger. They'll have his number saved and ready because I think that's someone who's going to be used this season. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Right there. Look at that. Look at Patrick Mahomes. The ball is already out of his hand. Rice is not even in the end zone yet. The cornerback has no idea what is going on. So Rice knows, because they discussed this in the huddle, Rice knows that he's got to hurry the hell up and turn around and get ready to make this play here because he knows that ball is already coming out. Unless there's an additional defensive back there, like if a safety just happens to be in that area, they're going to avert that and go a different direction. But this is why the fade route, even though it sounds simple, it's really not. A lot of things have to go right. Mahomes will look at the pre-snap, just read the defense and say, okay, we got one-on-one right there. Rice has got this. And listen, they did it with Jason Brownlee in week 1. I think that, to me, is the encouraging sign. When you can do that right there on one-on-one plays, that's what's going to help you. That is what's going to help you. So just keep that in mind. If you guys like to go back and rewatch these games, pay very close attention to that. I can't play the full clip because we don't have the copyright to do that. But that is, this to me was my favorite part of last night, other than the pass protection that Mahomes had in the game. That is, that was a thing of beauty right there. I like seeing that. As far as the defense goes, I know we haven't talked any defense. Ashton Gelati, hello, dude. That guy came to play last night. And I know he had that roughing the passer call. Wasn't really too big of a fan of that call, but listen, it happens. I'd rather in the preseason he show aggressiveness than not. And I think you saw that from Gelati. I think Gelati did a lot of growing in training camp. So this is someone who I think is going to be an important part of your defensive line here. So I was glad to see him. That dude was living in Chicago's backfield. That's how great of a game Ashton Gelati had. So I hope we see more of that with Gelati as his rookie campaign, I guess, officially starts in 13 days when the Chiefs get the season underway in Brazil. Chris Jones, Charles Omenihu, they teamed up for a sack. I don't know. I don't have the stats in front of me. I don't know who ended up getting credited. I think they split between those two guys. I think that might have been the right call, but it was a thing of beauty for sure. I was glad to see that from the defensive line after a bad showing last week. And again, I understand the starters did not play much or played very little last week, so can't put too much in that game. But I was happy to see how they looked in this game for sure. Jeffrey Bossa, again, a guy that's been good on special teams and has shown some good things on defense, more so the first 2 weeks than last night. But I think that's the guy who's going to be a big part of your team for a while. Who got that blocked, or maybe not blocked, but a tipped PAT? Kevin Knowles. Listen, I don't know what it is. The Chiefs have the secret sauce on these kinds of things. You saw Karlaftis block a PAT in Super Bowl 58. You saw, or I'm sorry, not Karlaftis, Leo Chenal. You saw Leo Chenal do it again in last year's game against Denver. The Chiefs had another situation where they blocked or tipped a field goal. I can't remember who against who last year. Justin Reed blocked a field goal against Denver a couple of years ago. That was Patrick's first loss to Denver. That was when the Chiefs offense did not play very well. And then last night we saw Kevin Knowles go out there and tip a PAT. And that forced Chicago to go for 2 at one point, and they were unable to do that. Now, no sweat for Chicago. They found a way to rally late in the game and win that game. But that was a pretty good look for Kevin Knowles. I think that is someone who might end up being on Kansas City's practice squad. Again, I don't know if he's got room on the 53-man roster to make it, because I think Kansas City has a lot of guys they like at the cornerback position, but he's definitely going to, I think that's a guy who earned himself a spot and will stick around on the practice squad. One big concern on defense was Christian Fulton. A lot of people complained about Christian Fulton. I think this is someone who is showing that he did not practice much in training camp because he was on PUP. Last night's practice, maybe not the most fair way to judge Christian Fulton, but it certainly was not any indicator of anything positive coming from him. The Chiefs signed him to a 2-year deal, so this is someone who is going to stick around, but he's got to look better than how he looked last night. So hopefully the Chiefs will get better production from him than what we saw last night. Second string, third string, fourth string guys. I mean, listen, I think Chris Oladokun, that's a guy who has some talent there. I think last year the Chiefs kept Bailey Zappi over Oladokun on the practice squad. This year, I think it's going to be the other way around. I think Oladokun is going to be the practice squad QB. Bailey Zappi did not look good. This Chiefs team, the third and fourth string guys that played late, they did not capitalize. They did not put the game away. I was hoping that they would ice the game and go for it on fourth down, but they decided to punt the football. I think they wanted to test and see how Matt Ariza would do with his directional punting, and not have as many touchbacks like he did last year. All right, so those are my thoughts from last night's game. I'm going to skim through the comments here. If there are any comments that I already answered, I'm going to skip over them. But I will. Foley is finalizing a deal to buy our local team. Thanks again for your explanation what he did. Yeah. Oh, awesome. From Croatia. Shout out to you, Boris, and best of luck to your favorite football team in Croatia. Hopefully they do well. Yeah, Foley did pretty good. Didn't he say like within the first 6 years? I think he said he wanted the Vegas Golden Knights to win a cup, and they did exactly that. They've been very competitive, so that's been a lot of fun to see. Yeah, Kathy, you're right. Patrick took a beating in that Super Bowl. That's never fun to see. So again, if that offensive line, if the way they look last night, if they look like that in the regular season and hopefully all the way in the postseason to the Super Bowl, yeah, that's good news. That is good news. Brad says, I thought the line was exactly what the doctor ordered. Yeah, amen to that, Brad. I'm hyped for our offense and the way our line looks. I hope Simmons blows everyone's minds. Yes, I haven't really mentioned Simmons by name more than once or twice. Simmons looked good as well. I mean, he was not letting guys get around to Patrick Mahomes. I think the only time was Simmons was blocking a guy and looked really good. And I think it was that one play where Mahomes had a lot of extra time, and he ended up just throwing it way out of bounds in the corner of the end zone. The edge rusher against Simmons, he kind of got away from, he disengaged from Simmons, and then he goes through the middle. Creed already picked up one block, but that other blocker who was working defensive line, who was working against Simmons, he has to go in the middle. And at that point, there's no blockers in the middle there. So Mahomes, he had to get rid of that. So Josh Simmons was too good. The guy literally disengaged from Simmons and decided to go through the middle of the offensive line. He was like, nah, I'm getting the hell out of here. Congrats on your weight loss. Thank you, sir. Thank you. 44 pounds. 44 pounds. This shirt's loose. I'm telling you, last night someone was asking about my shirt, the Travis Kelce Know Your Role shirt that I wore yesterday. A lot of people were asking where I got that from. Guys, I got to be honest with you, I don't remember, because when I bought it, didn't really look good on me, and that thing's looking a little loose. It's getting to the point where a lot of my X large shirts are too big. So amen to that. I think we are going to be fine. Just a little more tuning. James says, "Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the thought with a lot of teams coming out of the preseason. If we make plays like that all season, we are going to kick some ass." Robert says, "Yeah," and again, we see the Chiefs run the or throw the ball a lot when a lot of teams would run inside the 10 or the 5. So that fade route right there from Mahomes, that is something that I'm expecting to see a lot of this season. When Gelati gets a little more tradecraft, he should be an animal. Yeah, that I like what I saw from Gelati yesterday. When the Chiefs drafted Gelati, I kind of questioned it. I'm like, really? You just got a defensive lineman. But as the draft went on, they got Noah Williams, who had a lot of success. He led all defenders last year in college football in interceptions. Um, and they ended up getting a running back later in the draft. And I thought, okay, maybe the Chiefs knew what they were doing with those two defensive linemen, especially with the loss of Treshawn Wharton, and you got two veterans in Omenihu and Pinnell, who might not be around much longer on this defense. So maybe on second thoughts, because always, your instant reaction to something might not always be the same later on. But looking back, I like the draft. A lot of people like the draft, even outside of Kansas City. So we'll see what the Chiefs will look like defensively. I'm excited for that defensive line. How did Norman Lott do? He didn't really do much this season. Wasn't noticed much. Hopefully, it's a different story. Yeah, Bailey Zappi. Yeah, he was bad. He did not look good. I thought he had flashes in New England when he replaced Mac Jones for a little bit. But yeah, I think Bailey Zappi. I think Bailey Zappi will end up on the practice squad of one NFL team. I just don't think that one team is Kansas City's. I don't. A lot of positive comments about a lot of positive comments about Ashton Gelati and a lot of negative comments about Bailey Zappi in the last couple of minutes here. All right. Before I get out of here, and I thought about whether or not I wanted to share this. Listen, a lot of you guys ask, how come I don't go to Arrowhead often? I like the home viewing experience better, especially when you're able to see replays and hear the broadcasters, those kinds of things. Don't get me wrong, Arrowhead's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yes, Justin, Arrowhead was super packed for the preseason last night. But something happened at the end of the game, after the game specifically, that was kind of ugly and embarrassing as a Chiefs fan. Listen, I'm not here to tell you I witnessed a fight, a little scuffle. Not here to inform you because that happens everywhere. But something happened last night that I have not seen at a sporting event before, and it was kind of ugly and disgusting. Let me just say, I did not know what exactly instigated the whole thing because my back was turned. And listen, you guys know me, I'm a content creator, so I'm filming the players as they're leaving. I'm filming Kareem Hunt, and as Kareem Hunt's walking down the steps, I hear a bunch of people go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And I hear people shouting, "Security, security!" I don't know what happened, but I saw a kid in tears, and a lot of people who saw what happened kept asking the kid, "Hey, are you okay?" Two grown men had their hands on each other. No punches were thrown that I saw, but there was shoving, and that's kind of what started. And I think what happened was the two men kind of got into it, and it just so happened that as they were shoving each other, one got, or maybe both got shoved into kids. Again, my back was turned to the whole thing. I didn't see all of it. Look, when there was a minute left in the game, a lot of people started walking down that steps because they wanted a high five or an autograph or something. Security was quick to tell people, "Hey, no, this area needs to be clear because people need to go use the stairs to get in and out." Now, usually a lot of people are that sit front row or the second row. They stick around. So not anyone's leaving there, but for safety reasons, that area still needs to be clear. And, it was just concerning to me because I've seen two grown men fight before. I've never seen a kid be in the middle of that and kind of just be in the line of fire where two grown men shoving each other and one or both got shoved into at least one kid. listen, I get it. This is the best era of Chiefs football we'll ever have in our lifetime. And I don't think we're ever going to see anything like this ever again. Once the core group of guys start to leave. So I get there are a lot of fan favorites, and everyone wants a headband or a glove or an autograph from our all these fan favorites here. But if you're going to do shit like this, just stay home. Uh, Listen, I remember in 2021 where it seemed like the first couple of home games, there were fights. One of them involved those super fans. And I'm just like, man, if you're going to do shit like this, just don't go to games. Just stay home, because you kind of ruin it for the rest of the people around you. Yeah, it was weird. The two men, they got into it. People quickly got into breaking it up. I did notice the people who were there took a certain side, telling another guy to back up. Again, not saying if it was right or wrong. I'm just telling you what happened. Then the wives or the girlfriends of the two men, they got into it. They were shouting. It's like, man, when the girlfriends are getting involved, or the wives, that's what it's that's when it starts to get a little crazy. But I don't know, man. To me, it's like there's more value than staying at home watching the game, because I get it. You have a kid and you want to give your kid that memory, even if it's a backup player that gives you his glove or headband, or even a scribbles his name. That kid's going to remember that for life. Unfortunately, there were a couple families that had a bad experience because security got involved from what I saw, the families had to stick around for a while because they were talking to security, police. That's never a way I think one of the kid it was his birthday. It's like, that sucks. Like, Joshua says, drink yourself to death at home. Brad says, come on, man. We're all on the same team. Act like it. There was one woman who she was the girlfriend or a wife of a Chiefs fan. She had a Broncos jersey on. I mean, she's watching that kind of laughing too. Listen, if these were just two grown men fighting, I could be like, oh, ha ha. But when a kid gets involved, it's like, okay, that's fucked up. I'm just trying to think. I don't ever think anything like that happened to my brother and I when we were kids. It just sucks to see, man. Chill out. Because I saw it in training camp a little bit, not fighting necessarily, but people shoving the gates just to get an autograph. Just chill out, man. Just chill out. Well, Chiefs fans call the Raiders Field Arrowhead West. Maybe the Chiefs fans are the same as the Raiders now. Yeah, I mean, you can't poke fun at other fan bases when you listen. This kind of shit, let's be honest though, Curtis. Like, this happens at all 32 or 30 NFL stadiums, but with all 32 fan bases. I mean, this happens everywhere. I guarantee you, every single NBA game, NHL game, NFL game, definitely every NFL game, because in the NFL you have far more people in that stadium. There's at least one arrest every single NFL game. I mean, listen, you get knuckleheads; those things happen. But man, it's just like, come on. Listen, I don't have kids, but at the end of the day, it's like, I can understand parents being upset because their kid got shoved and all that, but I'll be honest, man. Like, I was thinking about that on the way home last night. I'm like, that was ugly, and I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be a Chiefs fan. And again, not to say those two represent all of Chiefs fans. This happens everywhere, shoving, fighting, whatever. But when it involves a kid, it's come on. Let's not do that shit. I was just curious what you guys thought, because I think there are some parents who are here watching, and yeah, a lot of you guys are in agreement with me. Like, don't do that in front of children. That's where things start to really look bad and embarrassing. So just chill, people. Love one another on this Saturday. College football is back, folks. So if you guys are going to, I know a lot of you guys are going to watch that K-State game in Ireland. If you are there in Ireland, enjoy that game. That should be a lot of fun. I saw the Tomahawk Chop took place in Ireland. That was cool. So if you guys are at a college football game today, I'll be at the KU Fresno State game. Enjoy it. Enjoy watching the college football action from home. Otherwise, I will talk to you all on Monday. We'll talk more about the team and the roster cuts potentially. And we'll also meet later on in the week, as Tuesday will be the roster cut. The roster cut from 90 to 53. We'll see what the Chiefs end up doing there. I'm Farzi Vasugian. Thank you all for joining me early in the morning. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you all later.